sir has joined. Ma'am, sir has joined. Abhi sir ka screen is fine.
Yes, now I can see all of you clearly. We can
Yeah.
commence. Yes, Ramandeep ji, we can start. I am here.
So, a very good afternoon to all. I welcome Secretary, Pension and Pensioners Welfare, Shri V. Srinivas, and all the pensioners associations to today's Pension Awareness Program. Before we start, I would request Shri Sanjeev Mathur, Joint Secretary Pensions, to welcome Secretary and all the participants.
Thank you, Ramanjit ma'am. I extend a very hearty welcome to our new secretary, Mr. Srinivas. Sir has been very kind to give us this time slot. And after a long gap, we have started this whole initiative of pensioner awareness programs. And for the first time, in fact, sir, this is a digital program cutting across the entire country. We are covering about more than 25 cities, starting from Kanyakumari to Jammu, sir. In fact, all Hyderabad, Vadodara, Jagadri, Chandigarh, Nagpur, Bhubaneswar, Jaipur, Mumbai, Calcutta, Cuttack, Bangalore, Pune, Chennai, Delhi, Guwahati, Dehradun, Pondicherry, Kanyakumari, Madurai, Mohali, Noida, Balasore, Ahmedabad, Mysore. I might have missed a couple. Are all covered, sir, today. And so basically, this is a very important meeting which we are going to have, awareness meeting, because the CCS pension rules of 2021 have been notified, and it is, I think, very much important that we should have a briefing of the pensioners and the associations about the new aspects of the CCS pension rules 2021, sir. And the second thing is, we have also this department under your able guidance has just launched the digital face authentication technique of giving life certification, and that also we wanted to make the pensioners aware, because the life certificate date has also been extended up to 20th February, sir. So without wasting much more time, sir, I would request now that we should start with the first session, sir. Mr. Harjeet Singh is there, sir. He will cover the CCS pension rules 2020. Mr. Harjeet Singh, please अपना unmute कर दीजिए, and you can start. आपका वीडियो भी वो है. हाँ. Yeah, you can please start.
Yes. I think somebody will be sharing this.
Yeah, the screen. So, Mr. Bansal is sharing. Who's sharing the screen?
Tanya is.
Tanya is sharing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please share the screen. In the meantime, Harjeet ji, you can give a background.
Yes, yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon to all participants. So, as you know, our earlier rules, CCS Pension Rules 1972, they were framed 50 years ago. And since then, there have been a lot of amendments, a lot of instructions, a lot of OMs, and sometimes even the courts remarked that this is a khichdi or something. So, we thought that we should have a new set of rules which should cover everything, and there should be no confusion at all. And in the bargain, we have included all those amendments, all those OMs, and some more reforms, which we, as per our experience, we noticed that there are some things which have to be added in the rules, which are not there in the rules. So we have amalgamated everything and brought out a new set of rules. And we have notified the new rules on 20th of December 2021, called Central Civil Service Pension Rules 2021. So let the presentation be shared. So this was also included in our secretaries group, which is monitoring it. This cabinet secretariat is also was also monitoring it. PMO was monitoring it. So we have done from our best to include everything. And with this, the earlier rules, 1972 rules, they stand repealed. Is Tanya?
Tanya, is there any issue?
Sir, actually, I haven't received the PPT.
I can do it, but I don't know.
Sir, if you can mail it to me, I'll just
Yeah,
share it right away.
just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I am sharing it now. I will share it.
So then I will continue. So what was the process? In fact, we had prepared ourselves internally a draft of the new rules.
Ajay, can you say it?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go to third slide. This we have already covered. Then, so as you know, these revised rules, basically they do not change any emoluments or any entitlements. Pension remains the same, gratuity remains the same, family pension remains the same. Only this has been rationalized. So there is nothing addition insofar as additional pension or gratuity is concerned. Then revised rules incorporate various executive instructions, clarification, as I have already told you. So these includes recent policy reforms also, they have also been included. And as I said, some reforms, some advice we have given to the departments which are not generally circulated, they have also been included based on our experience. They have also been included in the new rules. Next. So basically what we have done, which was not there in the earlier rules, but we have included in these rules, that is earlier what was happening is if somebody was getting a increment during leave, and as you know, during leave that increment benefit is not given. But when, although it was not given in the pay, but now as per these rules, that will be given in pension. Even if somebody retires while on leave, he doesn't get the benefit of increment. It will be given in the pension. So that is something new. Earlier it was given only if the leave was for 120 days. If leave exceeded 120 days, this benefit was not given. Now it is being given. Then notional, sometimes what happened due to court orders or something, the pay was revised retrospectively, and no arrears were given. Then pensioners who had retired in the meantime, they were not getting this benefit. Now, as per the news, that benefit will also be given to the pensioners, those who have retired, although they did not get it in the pay, but notionally it was given notionally. So that benefit of notional pay fixation will also be given for pension fixation. Then people who are dismissed or removed from service, normally they are not entitled to any pension, but the competent authority can sanction a compassionate allowance. Now what was happening was that because there was no clarity on this, most of the authorities, they were not sanctioning any compassionate allowance. So we have made it mandatory that all the cases where the person is dismissed or removed, he will be that order will have to be issued whether or not he will be entitled to any compassionate allowance or not. So that this thing will apply even in the past cases where no such order for compassionate allowance was issued. It will have to be issued within next 6 months. So that also we have included in the rules. Next. Earlier there were two rules for voluntary retirement. One was voluntary retirement after 30 years and one was after 20 years of qualifying service. Because 30 years, somebody who can retire after 20 years, he can always retire after 30 years. So that 30-year rule was more or less a redundant rule. So we have removed that rule from the new rules. So then also we have there is a provision that somebody can take back his voluntary retirement notice, but that has to be done before the actual date of the intended date of retirement. To give sufficient time to the competent authority to consider, we have included in the rule that such a withdrawal notice will have to be given at least 15 days before the intended date of retirement. So this is some reform which we have done in the new rules. Then,
Sir, can you, good afternoon, I am from Bhubaneswar.
Ji.
Can you kindly please elaborate on compassionate allowance a bit further?
Compassionate allowance. So
Yes.
as I told you, then if somebody is dismissed or removed, now he forfeits his pension. No pension is to be
Yes.
given. That is the normal
Yes.
rule. But the rule also provides that in deserving cases, the competent
Yes.
authority can sanction a compassionate allowance. That compassionate allowance will not be more than 2/3 of his entitled pension. It will not be full pension. It will be not more than 2/3. It can be anything less than that, but not less than 9,000 rupees per month. So this is the rule that of compassionate allowance. But what was happening?
But sir, sorry to interrupt, but the competent authorities are not aware of this provision.
That is
in
what
CCS
exactly
Pension
I am
Rules.
saying. That is what
we'll take the questions. We'll take the questions later. Let the presentation go on. Please note down your points, and
Sir.
you can make
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so that we can
Yes, sir.
move in a structured manner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
clear,
yes.
at least this point I will clear that because the competent authorities were not aware, so we have made it mandatory that in all cases wherever dismissal is done, it will be done, that order for compassionate allowance will be granted or not be granted, that will have to be issued within 3 months. So let us go back to the place where we have left. So that this is a very important, actually what is happening, large number of people are going to the court that their pension was delayed, their gratuity was delayed, their family pension was delayed, and 2 years, 3 years, 4 years it was taking, and then finally when it was given, they lost interest on that particular areas of pension. Now we have made it that if there is a delay on the part of the administration, for any reason, if the delay is on the part of administration, then interest will be given on all these delayed payments, whether it is gratuity, pension, or family pension. And also responsibility will be fixed for the person who delayed that. So this is a very important new provision in the new rules. So then also there was earlier when people were going to UN bodies, if they were getting a pension from there, then they had option not to pay any contribution and then not count that service for pension. But now we have delinked it with availability of pension in the UN bodies. We have said if somebody goes to UN bodies, then he has the option either to pay contribution and then count his service, or if not to pay any contribution and then not to count any service. So it is delinked from that availability of pension in the UN bodies. Next. Then this is something we had issued as a circular earlier, but we have incorporated in the rules also that dependent children and siblings who are suffering from a disability, in their case, the eligibility income criteria will not be that rupees 9,000 plus DR, but it will be the actual entitled family pension. If the income from other sources other than the family pension is less than the entitled family pension, then he will be considered dependent on the government servant or the pensioner, diseased pensioner. If it is more than that entitled pensioner, then he will not be considered as dependent. But in other cases, as usual, for other than persons suffering from disability, the eligibility will be if their income is more than rupees 9,000 plus DR, they will become independent. They will not be dependent, considered dependent, so they will not be entitled to any family pension. Then we have also, because the people were facing a lot of difficulty in claiming family pension, because head of office will always say, how do I know whether you are dependent or not dependent, what is the proof of your income. So we have specified the documents in the rules which tell us what is the document which will be submitted and which will have to be accepted by the head of office. For example, first document is ITR. So as you know, ITR filing is now very easy. So anybody without PAN card, PAN number, he can just log on to the income tax website and file even a nil income, they can file a income tax return. And if as and when the eventuality arises, he can always give the copy of that ITR telling that this is my income, and head office will accept that. there is no need to go to any SDM or anything to bring that income certificate. But of course, if somebody has not filed the ITR, then he will have to bring some certificate from the SDM, or if even that is not available, then any other document which with which the head of office is satisfied, that document will have to be presented to substantiate his claim for that family pension. So this also again, divorced daughter, we have already issued a OM which says that if some petition was filed during the lifetime of the pensioner or the spouse, but the actual divorce has not taken place and it takes place after the death of both parents. So in that case also family, that daughter, divorced daughter will be eligible for family pension. So that we have included in this rule also. Next. Then there are some cases where a penalty is imposed, but the intention of the penalty is that after that period of that penalty, the pay will come back to the same level. As if there was no penalty. The impact of the penalty will be limited to only that period during which the currency of the penalty. But unfortunately, if somebody died during that penalty, his pay is reduced, so he gets less pension throughout. Family gets less family pension throughout thereafter. So we have included in the rules that in such cases, the actual pay at the time of death will not be taken into account, but the notional pay which he would have otherwise got, irrespective of that penalty, that will be considered for family pension. So that is another some liberalization in so far as family pension is concerned. Then again, we have recently included that in the rules, and we have incorporated in the new rules that earlier what was happening, if a spouse was charged of murdering the government servant or the pensioner, then even the eligible children, they were not given the family pension. So nobody got the family pension because spouse will not get because he is charged of the murder, but even the children will not get the family pension. Now we have changed the rules that in such cases, during which time the spouse is charged or the matter is with the court, that children will continue to get family pension. And if ultimately the spouse is convicted, then children will continue to get family pension, and if he is acquitted, then family pension will go back to the spouse. So this is again something, otherwise the children will not, if the spouse was charged, then even the children were not getting, now children will be getting it. Then on death of a government servant during service, this is again a very important, if somebody dies during service, and his family will have to give, and family stays in the government accommodation, then they have to pay the license fee. Now we have made this in the rule that any outstanding license fee as well as the license fee for the next 3 months, that will not have to be paid. So that some concession has been given to the families of those who die during service. So this is very important that now we have this bhavishya. Earlier, different people were processing pension cases differently, and nobody knew what is happening to their pension case. Now this bhavishya, as you know, from 1/1/2017, we had made it mandatory through executive orders to process all pension cases through bhavishya. Now that we have included that in the rules as a statutory provision, then everybody is now bound to process pension cases in the bhavishya portal only. Then there is a provision in the rules that somebody who has completed 18 years of qualifying service, or somebody who is retired 5 years later, their qualifying service certificate is to be given by the head of office. Now what is happening in many cases, people come to retirement and their qualifying service is not verified or something, and they face a lot of problem, and even these rules were not being followed. No certificate in many departments, these certificates are not being issued. So we have included in the rules that it will now be monitored by the Secretary of the Administrative Ministerial Department. See that such certificates are issued so that the people who are retiring, they don't face any problem regarding this verification of their service. So this is also a procedural reform we have incorporated in the rule. Then timelines for processing we have streamlined. We have 1 month, within 1 month pension case will have to be processed by head of office, this family pension case, and within 1 month the account officer will have to send it to the CPEO. So all these timelines have been rationalized and so that this pension and family pension is sanctioned at the earliest possible. So it is not delayed. So this is another change we have made. So earlier our rules stopped at PEO. After the PEO issues the PPO, then our rules did not talk about that. Now we have included that it will be sent to the CPO, and CPO will have to issue the pension payment order within 21 days, and the bank will have to give the pension from the next month onward. So all these things we have included in the rules to bind them statutorily. So that has also been included in the rules. So anybody can, if these rules are not followed, anybody can claim interest on delays, as I have already told you. So then another important is that many people who are so sick that they cannot even fill the forms for retirement, and they were facing a lot of problem. And sometimes what happened, the person who retired has died and he has not filled the forms, and he dies, and then head of office doesn't know how to sanction a pension or family pension in such cases. So we have said in such cases, the head of office will allow the family members to, we have included in the rules that he will allow the family members to fill the form and on behalf of the retired government servant, so that there is no further delay in sanctioning the pension or family pension in those cases. Then provisional pension, earlier the rule provided that family pension, if some government servant dies, family pension will be sanctioned only after the head of office has forwarded the pension papers to the account officer. We have made this change in the rules that now the provisional, as soon as the claim is given and the head of office is satisfied that the claim is genuine, that certificate is there and the claimant is genuine, he will immediately sanction the provisional family pension pending issue of a final pension family pension order, so that at least the family pension starts immediately and there is no delay. So this will be done immediately after the death certificate and the claim for family pension is given. Earlier, there are cases where the government servant or a pensioner goes missing. We had issued time to time from 1986 onwards. There were several instructions issued in this respect that they will be given family pension, gratuity, family will be given family pension and gratuity. But there were no statutory rules. That all those instructions we have incorporated in the new rules. So these missing government servant or a pensioners, their families will get family pension and gratuity as per the new rules now. The forms and formats, various forms were there. We have.
Ajit, you can also tell that what will be the process. Supposing a pensioner or government servant goes missing, just give a brief what exactly is the problem.
Right, sir. Actually, now what happens if a government servant goes missing, then the family, because there are already instructions which we have included in the rules, and as per these instructions, the family is supposed to file an FIR with the police. So then the police gives a certificate. If they are not able to trace, they will have to say that in spite of their best efforts, they have not been able to trace that person so far. So on that basis, the family will submit a claim for family pension and gratuity and leave encashment, everything in respect of the government servant and or the pensioner. In the case of pensioner, their family pension, they will submit the claim to the department, and department, after waiting 6 months, waiting for a period of 6 months after the filing of FIR, if there is no further information about the whereabouts of the government servant or pensioners, then they will sanction the family pension and gratuity everything.
Excuse me, sir. What is the time limit? Is it 7 years or something like that?
No. This 7 years is under the Evidence Act, that for 7 years a person cannot be presumed to be dead, but after 7 years he will be deemed to presumed to be dead. So after 7 years the rule provides that they will be given regular family pension and pension. Then this is only to cover up that period, because during that period when there is a confusion where is that government person, he cannot be treated as dead also, but in spite of that family pension will be given. So 7 years is the period after which he will be treated as dead if he does not come back during those 7 years. That is not in our rules. Our rule only say after 7 years he will regular PPO will be, and he will be treated regular type of pension, family pension, and death gratuity, because death gratuity is issued only death gratuity is not issued, normal gratuity is issued, then balance of that gratuity will be given, but that is a separate thing. 7 years, that is under the Evidence Act.
Okay, this provisional pension, is it limited to minimum pension?
No, provisional pension is the actual pension entitled, not minimum pension.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I have not said the minimum pension. It is actual entitled pension or family pension. So if somebody dies at a pay of 10,000 rupees, the family pension provisional will be, because first 10 years it is 50%, so it will be 5,000 rupees. It will not be like if it is 50,000 then 25,000. It will not be 9,000. So minimum, there is no question of minimum. It is the actual family pension. So forms have been devised. We have divided the forms into two things. One is forms and the other one is formats, which are for a processing of cases. So then, as I told you, that with the notification of these rules, the earlier rules, they stand repealed. So this is all about the new rules. Then we have also included in the presentation something of the interest to the pensioner, because which is particularly for interest of pensioners, that is family pension. So if some pensioner dies, what will happen regarding family pension? So we have included some slides in this presentation. So who are the people eligible for family pension? We have mentioned in they are widow or widower, then dependent children. It is dependent children only, those who are not earning, and earning, as I told you, their income from other sources is less than rupees 9,000 plus DR, not in the case of disabled children, but other children. So they should be unmarried. It includes unmarried son, less than 25 years. After 25 years, son becomes ineligible. Unmarried, widowed, and divorced daughters, children with disability, they are eligible. Then dependent parents, again, dependent parents are eligible, and then dependent siblings with a disability. No, not all siblings, but only dependent. Are getting the family pension, they can get the family pension straight away from the bank itself by filing a form. We have included a new form also in the rules, that is form 12. That if they file that form, and their family pension will start from the bank itself, so they don't have to go back to the office. Next. So amount of family pension, it is 50 in the case of a pensioner only, because I am particularly concentrating on pensioners. And that enhanced rate of 50% for our last pay for 7 years, or till the date the pensioner would have reached the age of 67 years. If some say pensioner dies at the age of 63 years, then next 4 years the family will get family pension at the rate of 50% of last pay, and thereafter it will be 30% of the last pay. Maximum family pension is 1,25,000 and minimum family pension is 75,000 per month. At ordinary rate, 1,25,000 at enhanced rate, that is 50% of last pay. Next. Normally, as I said, family pension is given to one person at a time, but in some cases it has to be shared. For example, if there are more than one widow, and if widow is permissible as per personal law or something, and if there are more than one widow, then it will be shared between the widows. And then if there is a widow and there is a child from an earlier divorced or wife, or a wife who has already died, in all those cases, the children from the earlier marriage, they eligible children from that, and widow from the second marriage, the family pension will be shared between the two. And if there are, in some cases it may be 3 also, then it will be shared between the 3 also. Next. So this is very important, that if both the parents are government servants and the child is eligible for family pension in respect of both. So if, for example, if one parent dies, the family pension goes to the other parent. But after the second parent dies, then family pension of both will come back to the child, eligible child, if the child is eligible. But condition is that it should not exceed the maximum limit. As I said, if it is enhanced family pension, it will not exceed 1,25,000, and if it is ordinary pension, then it will not exceed 75,000. But the child will get family pension in respect of both parents. So that is the rule already there, not new in the rule, but just to reiterate that provision. So one should know about that rule. So family pension, I will just go through that person. Many pensioners, they may be having this problem that the child is suffering from a disability. So I will just read this. Family pension is payable for life to a dependent child suffering from a disability. In their case, the age does not apply. Marriage does not affect the family pension. If a child with disability marries, even then he or she will continue to get family pension. So family pension to a child suffering from a mental disability, it can be given to a person nominated by the pensioner or his spouse. This is very important. We have recently issued a circular also, because people are facing, it's not that both parents have died and the child does not have any guardian, but the parents during their lifetime, they can nominate somebody to receive family pension on behalf of that child with mental disability.
So what Harjeet ji is saying, that of late we came across a case in which the bank was making the guardian run around for a guardianship certificate from a court of law. So we have issued a clarification to all the banks saying that that is not required if the pensioner had already nominated a particular person as a recipient on behalf of the mentally retarded child. So that is what this has been issued in this month itself.
Then disability are dependent, if they, as I told you, it is not rupees 9,000 plus DR, it is the actual entitled family pension. That is the income criteria for deciding dependability of a disabled child. So this is different from normal other children or parents or any other family member. So in their case, this concession is there. And one important thing is that disability should have occurred during the lifetime of the parents. It's if somebody, if a child who is not eligible who is not disabled, his able body, and during the lifetime of parents, and unfortunately he suffers some disability after their death, then he will not become eligible for family pension. So that is already there. Then
So one point I would like to, Harjit also like to stress on is that the third point, disabled children siblings are dependent, the income criteria. Actually, the income criteria earlier, this has also recently been introduced this the last year. Income criteria used to be the same for the disabled child as for any other normal child. But now this department stepped in because a lot of these parents used to make FDs in their lifetime for the such children, thinking that after them, if nobody looks after them, at least the interest will go to them. Now, the moment the interest would be more than 9,000, which is the minimum amount, the child would be out of the on the basis of income eligibility would be out of the reckoning for this particular thing. So what we did, this department, that we increased the income ceiling to the entitled family pension. If it is more than that, only then on the basis of income criteria he can become ineligible. Otherwise, the child will be eligible. So I just wanted to just
thank you, sir.
elaborate. Please go ahead.
Then disability certificate, if disability is permanent, then once only, it will have to be given only once. And if it is already there with the office, then the office will not ask for another certificate. And but if the disability is temporary, and sometimes there is a temporary disability, then in that case the certificate will have to be given every 5 years for continuation of that family pension. Next. Widow daughters family pension is payable to an unmarried widow divorced daughter above 25 years after all other children have become more than 25 years. If there is a child less than 25 years, then unmarried widowed or divorced daughter will not get family pension. First, you will have to exhaust the children which are less than 25 years. If there is no 25 years, less than 25-year child, then only they will get. And also, if there is any child suffering from disability and he is more than 25 years, then first priority will be that child with suffering from disability. So, widowed daughters or divorced daughters, their turn will come only later. Then, as I have already mentioned, divorce provision, that if the petition was filed before the death of parents, but the actual divorce takes place after their death, then family pension will be given in that case also. It will not be that because the divorce has taken place after the death of parents, it will not be denied if the petition was filed before the death of the parents. But in that case, the family pension will be payable to that widowed daughter only after the existing, if there is already a family pension, drawing family pension, after he ceases to be eligible for family pension, then only the divorced or
we'll stop here. We'll stop the presentation here. I think these provisions are well known. Now we can take question answers. I have to leave at 4 o'clock. I'm in the bedroom till 4. So
Right.
So any questions on these? I will mail this presentation to you